Hey, my name's Shanshan. I sell art on shanshan.co and screen reads on shanshanacting.com. Today we're going to review The Hitman's Wife's Bodyguard. So this is directed by Patrick Hughes. Time is an hour and 39 minutes. I think it's a follow-up to The Hitman's Bodyguard. It was a previous film. Actors are Ryan Reynolds as Michael Bryce. He's a bodyguard that kind of falls from his top tier status. Samuel Jackson plays Darius Kincaid, one of these crazy hitmen who's almost unstoppable. Salma Hayek plays Sonia Kincaid, his wife, also a hit woman. Antonio Banderas plays Aristotle Papadopoulos, this Greek tycoon villain. So the story is this bodyguard. He just gets all these great awards as a bodyguard, AAA status, and then he also loses it because his person he's guarding gets killed, and so he starts to lose all his clients. And he goes see his psychologist, and his psychologist is like, "You need a vacation, swear off guns." And then she's like, "Oh God, I'm done with this lunatic," right? So he goes on vacation to Italy, and then all of a sudden he runs into Sonia Kincaid, who's this hitman's wife, right? And she's like, "You have to come save my husband." And he's like, "Why do I want to save your husband?" Like, his husband's literally is the one who put him in, made him lose his AAA status. He'd probably want to kill him, not try to save him, right? So it's kind of preposterous right off the bat. And in the meantime, there's this Greek tycoon. He wants to overthrow the EU because the EU has put sanctions on Greece and is destroying the economy, which is kind of a real-time thing during, I think, 2018 maybe. It's a little bit past the point now that they filmed it in 2021, but it's kind of funny. So let's get into the analysis. So yeah, the first thing was, the hitman or the bodyguard trying to save the hitman Darius is totally preposterous. If he caused him to lose his job and his status, he'd want to kill him at the at the very least, maybe. Maybe at least punch him, and then you don't really have that, so you're like, why are they working together? So that's a little bit squirry. There's a lot of plot twists that go back and forth, different scenes. They don't really make sense. I don't know if they didn't have enough scenes shot, or they didn't stitch together the story correctly. It seems like some editing flaws, or maybe they didn't shoot enough scenes. I'm not sure. It is tightly timed, an hour and 39 minutes, so maybe they cut back a little bit too much of the fat and got into the bone, right? You got, obviously, the quirky humor of Ryan Reynolds kind of woven through the whole plot. A lot of these jokes are kind of Ryan Reynolds type of humor. So some of them hit, some of them don't. So that's kind of interesting. There's a lot of jokes set up. Sometimes they land, sometimes they don't. It just seems like they probably didn't work through the story completely as far as, saying, hey, this joke doesn't work, let's rewrite the script on the fly. And they just said, let's just continue. So I think the flaw in here is they probably had a decent script and they didn't kind of polish it up as they went along and, add delays to the film. They just kind of cranked through the film, probably shooting it, but then, there's scenes that just aren't that funny as they could be. And so I think if they had kind of written the script a little bit more on the fly and redid some of the scenes as they went along and said, oh, this doesn't work, let's make it funnier, they could have spent, maybe another $1 million or $2 million with cost overruns, but that would have made the film a lot better. Great costume sets, but it doesn't overcome the plot issues. There's this funny idea of the bodyguard, he has this mental breakdown, and so he swears off guns and everything, so he has to go around, he only kills people with a pocket knife. Which is totally stupid, right? But that's kind of funny. It has similar issues kind of to MIB movie, the last one I reviewed, where there's kind of a lack of chemistry. I think there's chemistry here much better between Samuel Jackson and Salma Hayek, but, just between the three characters, maybe there's a lack of, bonding, which makes sense. I mean, he lost his job because of Samuel Jackson's character, so why would they work together at all? So just kind of preposterous. They have the funny stereotype of this crazy Mexican woman, super passionate and over the top, and so kind of leaning into a lot of stereotypes, but it's funny. There is something to say about Latin passion. The nonsensical black dad and that jokes all around that was pretty funny. I like that setup. That was, it was kind of making fun of PC culture without saying it, so it's really kind of clever, I think. There's this over dedication of the bodyguard to the job, which is always just can be seen as a character strength in many times, but it can also be a character flaw. So in the movie, it's kind of a flaw, so he has to kind of overcome that. Yeah, there's a weird lack of hero. It's just everyone's kind of a villain in a way. Everyone shoots someone. You didn't really feel like there's a villain. I mean, obviously, Antonio Banderas plays a key villain, but then I don't feel like the other people are great either because the hitmen are villains in a way. So why? There's no one to really root for, so to say. There's not that pure good and evil split down the middle, which you kind of need, I think, for a film to work. The flashback scenes were great. They used all these flashbacks to make all these jokes, so that was really funny. Great setups there. And the hitmen were never like hit at all, so that seemed a little bit unrealistic. You want kind of like what happens to Bruce Lee in Enter the Dragon, where he's kind of scratched up and he's all brutal and he barely makes it through. That's what you want in a film. You want to see that evolution of the physicality of the film. You don't really have that per se. There's not really injuries to the hitman or the wife or anything, so that would have been better to have more character evolution. Overall, I think it's a fun film. It's probably a one-watch film. I think it's fun to watch, entertaining. Hopefully you guys like it. If you want to subscribe, you can subscribe below. And I'll see you in the next movie review. Thanks for watching, guys.